Hello, what's up? So today we're gonna do a review of Till, directed by Chinonye Chukwu and starring Danielle, Deadwyler, Jadyn Hall, Frankie Faison, Haley Bennett, Whoopi Goldberg, Jamie Lawson, Tossing Cole, Kevin Carroll, Sean Patrick Thomas, John Douglas Thompson, and Roger Gunver Smith. This is part of Catching Up with the Contenders, where we watch films. This point of the year, we watch the films that are up for awards consideration, Oscar consideration in this award season, Oscar season. And we see, because these films are now starting to drop on streaming or at VOD, so we could catch up with these films together. So, for a quick summary, this is the story of Mamie Till, a single mother, a widow, who allowed her son to visit his cousins in Money, Mississippi. By the way, they're living in Chicago, so north and south at the time. And then Emmett Till, while he was in Money, Mississippi, was lynched by white supremacists for whistling at a white woman. His body was thrown into the Tallahatchie River. His body was done these monstrous things by these murderers. And Mamie Till demanded that his son's body would be brought from Mississippi to Chicago, and then that he will have an open casket wake and funeral, and that a photo will be taken of his son, so that the world will see what those people did to him. Maybe for Americans, this is a story well known because this is part of history. But for people like me who's not American, this is definitely, I've heard a story before, but this is really my first full encounter to what happened. And this film takes really the perspective of Mamie Till. And I think the film mostly succeeds. So first, let's start. The decision to follow Mamie Till, I think, is an engrossing way to capture this essence of this story, because I think we've already had a discussion of it could be one way to recreate what had happened before, especially with Emmett. But it might be reinflicting the trauma that event has caused and has continued to cause to the African American community and the American community in general. So I think that's a wise decision, because there's an emotional journey there that has avoided exploitation that I would give the film. It avoids that easy way of emotional manipulation. No, it's not. It really painstakingly follows Mamie's journey in this whole thing. However, I will say that the film actually does follow Emmett when he visits Money, Mississippi. And I'm not sure about that route. I understand, because it humanizes the situation. It's not just facts. It's not just, oh, he did this and that. But I'm wondering if the film would have been more potent had it really just stuck with Mamie's perspective, because Mamie back in Chicago is just waiting for Emmett to call, or but she's really worried about her son. And that's also one other thing that I have some not issues but qualms with the film, is that early on in the film, when Mamie was worried about Emmett going, because she understood that there's a difference between the North and the South. Both are racist, but in the South, I think it's much more exponentially open. With Till makes the wise decision of earlier in the film, Mamie encounters a microaggression in Chicago, and she's inside a mall, I think, or a shopping center, and the guard kind of tries to make her visit the basement instead of staying in the main hall of the shopping center. So I think that already is a sign for her that even the veil of safety that she thinks she has shrouded Emmett with is not always true. And we understand her worry. But at the same time, I forgot what I was going to say. But I think the film just kind of telegraphs the tragedy so early. I mean, the worry, I think the film was the film was just trying to project that to show that Mamie had worries. But I think the film and even a little bit of Deadwyler's performance kind of projects tragedy a bit too early. So I was worried that I think that the film and the performance might have been like it was a setup to be a little bit one note. And because this is a harrowing journey, I already had that fear, and I fear for the film because I want the film to succeed so much. So I had my two comms already. Film, I think in a rocky beginning with that tone, and then following Emmett for quite a chapter instead of Mamie. Luckily, they didn't reenact the actual lynching. Great, but once Mamie is informed of the news, I think the film just takes off, and so does Deadwyler's performance. I think the film does a lot of these great choices in the storytelling, like just sticking with her face in that scene where she's finally seeing her son's body for the first time, and that happens again in the courtroom scene later on. I think there's a very long take of just her taking a stand in the court, which is just really a crushing moment and a triumph for Deadwyler, of course. But at the same time, for example, the small things. I love that film is colorful. I don't like the period films that are kind of desaturated, but at the same time, I love that the film is colorful. But I think that the digital cinematography kind of a little bit just avoided us from fully immersing us into the 50s because the digital sheen just is there again. But it's a nitpick. The score worked for me by Abba Koshanyevsky. It didn't work for everyone. I love the operatic drama of the melodrama of the score. I think it's appropriate. It punches up the drama, but not to sensationalize it, but just to show the grandiosity of the scope of this event and its impact on the world. Solid cast. I wish there was more Whoopi Goldberg because I love her. I think her winning for Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars for Ghost is one of the best wins ever at that category. But Danielle Deadwyler, she is getting raves. She's one of the front runners for Best Actress, and that is for a completely legit reason. I'm gonna go back to my earlier fears about how is she gonna move from this seeming like early tragedy tone, but then she just goes deeper and deeper. She reaches the depths of human emotion, the gravity of the unimaginable horror, and she goes from this to this. I don't know how to word it, because for her to reach so low is the only way for her to be able to fight back that hard. And Mamie Till has become a worldwide icon of fighting back against systemic oppression, racism, and she shows us that tenacity, that person that has always been in her, that fighter, and that just was unleashed by this unfortunate event, and her dedication to say that I am not gonna let, not verbatim of course, but I'm not gonna let this, what happened to my son, be into waste. This is not just gonna be an isolated incident. This is gonna be the beginning of a fight for a bigger push for change. I love that performance because it traverses those notes really well. Early on, I really understood how it was being like. She was probably so torn, because I know she knows the horrors of the South. That's why she shielded her son from that. And the North, the Chicago area, kind of gives that illusion of shield. But at the same time, because she put up that shield for her son didn't know hate. So her son didn't know how to respond to hate once it's already in front of him. And I think she discusses that in that monologue at the court. And that is a masterful moment. So I think this performance is great. I don't know. The film is solid. Her performance is terrific. It must be seen to be believed. This year already, I reviewed Michelle Yeoh and Kate Blanchett. Now we have Danielle Deadwyler, the three front runners. Oh my goodness, this is the reason why we have Best Actress. This exciting performances just abound, and for us, it's just a treat to be able to watch Till because it fuels us with rage that this has happened before, and unfortunately, this hasn't been really a way. Like the Anti-Lynching Act in the United States was just passed 2022, so we haven't really been far from that. So unfortunately, the fight is far from over, and I'm glad that this film exists to be able to tell the story, and hopefully, the same way that Mamie's activism had a ripple effect all over the world, that hopefully this film showing Mamie's activism could have ripple effects all over the world, and it galvanizes the soul with that power of filmmaking be weaponized to tell this story. All right, so for people who are curious about grades, I give this like a B/B plus. Yeah, I prefer Chinonye Chukwu's earlier film Clemency, starring Alfred Woodard. That's a masterful performance. This is up higher in stakes, but just love it. Just love Clemency more. But anyway, yeah, so that has been a review of Till. If you like this video, please give this a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!